every missionary that I've ever met in my whole life that's ridden a bike has had their great mission bike crash, right? Every missionary has that one story where they are going a million miles an hour downhill and then they trip on a small rock and they fly over the handlebars spectacularly and then they land on their feet and they stick the landing and the judges give them a 10 out of 10 and the bike is just like a smoldering heap on the ground, like totally destroyed. And I kind of had one like that. The bike was okay mostly. Well, it was a pretty crap bike after that, but it still worked. I still had to use it anyway. And I didn't get broken, but yeah, it was a pretty exciting crash based on eyewitness testimony. So my companion at the time, he was like amateur bike racer in Germany, and he was just like super pro at bikes. So he could bike a million miles faster than I could. He was like, and we were going down this. It was in Wellington. There was basically this whole suburb was like a giant hill, and we had been seeing someone at the top of the hill, and now we had to go back down to the bottom to get to where we lived. So he was zipping down at a million miles an hour, so he was a couple hundred yards ahead of me. We could still see each other, but he was going fast. And then in between him and me, some car pulled out from another street and it was going, but they were kind of going slow, and I was going fast, right? And so I was annoyed, so I kind of had to slow down a little bit, but then they sped up, and so I'm like, okay, I can let myself go faster again. And then in the middle of the road, like out of nowhere, they just slam on the brakes, and I'll never understand why. There was no one around, there was no point to it, but so then I have to slam on the brakes. And now the thing that I didn't tell you was that this downhill road had just been resurfaced, or was just being resurfaced, but they hadn't sealed it yet. So it was basically a bunch of loose gravel. And going fast downhill, slamming on the brakes on a bunch of loose gravel, it turns out it's a recipe for disaster, because as I was braking, I felt my back tire just skidding, like it was swerving out from under me. And I just knew, oh, I'm going to crash, I'm going to die. And the best part was I had a cast on my left arm at the time too. Oh no, maybe I had just gotten the cast off, because I had broken my little finger. That's a story too. They put me in a cast for just breaking my little finger. Can you believe that? New Zealand medicine people. But yeah, so as my back tire was sliding, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fall on my left side and break my hand again. And I'm gonna get another cast. And I just got out of the last one. And I was just thinking all this. And then, because the way I was falling, I was just gonna fall like sideways on my bike, just like on my left side, and then skid for several meters and get wrecked. But somehow, by some miraculous means that I still don't understand, my right leg must have like swung over the handlebars, and I just kind of like flew off and landed on my butt on the sidewalk and just skidded for like a couple feet. My pants were destroyed. Underwear were fine though. And the bike was like pretty messed up. But yeah, I was like, I still don't know how my leg swung like that, because legs don't move like that naturally. So that's probably like angels or something, if you want to call it that. But yeah, that was a funny one. It was funny in retrospect. My companion sure got a kick out of seeing the hole in my pants as we were biking home when he finally came back for me, because he didn't see any of this happen because he was too far ahead. So that was one of my funniest experiences, I think.